Welcome back to PSN News. I'm John Colavita with your sports update. Even though it's the offseason, Katie Schumacher-Colley and Penn State women's volleyball are making splashes with the transfer portal. The Nittany Lions picked up Bethlehem, PA native Lena Perugini from Coastal Carolina. The 5'7" defensive specialist heads to Happy Valley for her fifth and final year of eligibility. Perugini was named to the All-Sun Belt team in 2020 and recorded her 1,000th career dig in 2021. This past year, she played in all 114 sets for the Chanticleers and even played a match inside Rec Hall as Coastal Carolina visited for the Penn State Classic. Perugini is the fifth addition to the team through the transfer portal. On Saturday, Penn State men's hockey is hosting its first ever sled hockey classic against the Happy Valley Coyotes at Pagula Ice Arena. Sled hockey was designed for those with disabilities to play hockey. Players sit on specially made sleds and play with two shorter sticks with metal picks to push them across the ice. Penn State Athletics credited the men's hockey players for organizing the charity event. Teams will play a 20-minute contest beginning at 11:30 a.m. with gates opening at 11. Admission is free, but fans are encouraged to donate to the Coyotes GoFundMe. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles face off this Sunday in Super Bowl 57 in Glendale, Arizona. Both come in as #1 seeds with identical regular season records of 14-3. The biggest story surrounding the game is Jason and Travis Kelce, who are set to become the first pair of brothers to compete against each other in Super Bowl history. Many are also dubbing this the Andy Reid Bowl, as Kansas City's head coach has held the same position in Philadelphia for 14 seasons. Another milestone that this game represents is that this is the first time in Super Bowl history that a black quarterback will start for each team. Super Bowl 57 kicks off at 6:30 p.m. on Fox. That's all for your sports update. After the breaks, Max Kugler has the latest updates from the entertainment world. Stay tuned. Behind me is St. Andrew's Episcopal Church on West Foster Ave in State College, home of Center County Precincts 18, 22, and 32. Hundreds of voters, both young and old, have already cast their ballot here before noon in one of the most anticipated midterm elections in recent memory.
2022 is an important election year for the Keystone State. Voter turnout is expected to be higher than normal for a midterm election because of the races for governor and senator. This country's founding fathers' objective for democracy was the idea that the common person would have a say in how their country functions. This near 250-year-old value still resonates with today's voters.
This year, a lot of things brought me out, I guess. Just that I want to make sure I'm counted. My vote is counted, because it only happens so often. It's not like you go every month or every year even.
For many voters, casting their ballot is not necessarily about the color of the candidate's party, but the specific issues they support.
In general, like environmental justice, climate change, that stuff is also something I'm following pretty closely, and I care a lot about the efforts being done to minimize our impact on the environment.
A major cause for action for Pennsylvania residents, both young and old, are human rights laws, specifically the ones that could put women in danger.
For me, I'd say the biggest one's probably the abortion issue. With the overturning of Roe v. Wade in the Supreme Court, it's been really big for me to make sure that this state keeps it legal.
Polls close at 8 p.m. tonight, so you still have a lot of time to get to your assigned precinct and make your voice heard. Remember that if you're still in line by 8 p.m., you're still allowed to vote. Reporting in State College in Center County, I'm John Colavita.
Halftime here from Memorial Field. State High Little Lions are up 13-0. Saw a little bit of everything from the State High offense so far. Expected to see a heavy dose of runs for Deontay Sheffy. He went down with what looked like a scary injury, but came back in the second quarter and was able to pick up some big yards for State High.
Doesn't look like State College is utilizing him as much as they have in games past. I think they know that Central Dauphin is going to key on him throughout this contest. He didn't get his first carry until the third drive of the game for State College. But what I've liked most from them is what I've seen from Michael Gall on both sides of the ball. He did have that receiving touchdown from the arm of Finn Furmanak, and he had two really nice tackles on defense of David Chase, saving a couple of big runs, and David Chase really has been that factor for Central Dauphin.
And on the defensive side of the ball for Central Dauphin, State High has had plenty of times to score touchdowns, but yet the score remains 13-0. This Central Dauphin defense, they bend, they don't break. We've seen some great plays from them on third downs. This could be a more lopsided game if it wasn't for their defense playing so well in the red zone.
The main guy on the defense for Central Dauphin, it's been Sam Sowers all night long. He's really made his presence felt up front. He's that linebacker who's going to blitz you. He can be in coverage. He's a great run stopper. I've seen a lot from him that's been positive. The one thing I want to see from Central Dauphin out of the gate in the second half is Jet Franz. He came into the game with 6.5 sacks through 4 games, which is 5th in the entire state of Pennsylvania. He's been quiet tonight. I want to see him show up the next half.
On the offensive side of the ball for Central Dauphin, it's been David Chase. We've seen him at quarterback. We've seen him at running back. We've seen him at wide receiver. Their offensive attack has been a little bit unbalanced. They haven't really been able to get a lot going tonight, but he's having a good game.
I mean, to start the game, we were perplexed. We saw a wildcat formation. David Chase, as you said, as the quarterback, handing it off to Shepard and taking it himself. But I kind of like what I've seen from Travis Lane. He's made the right decisions. Hasn't really made any detrimental mistakes, but Central Dauphin hasn't really been able to move the ball. But they have put a lot of guys on the line. I do like that because we know that State College can get to that backfield. A lot of guys, 2 tight end set, 12 personnel. I wonder what they're going to do with that moving forward.
13-0 here at halftime. State High has gotten off to a good lead. Their defense is playing well. Their offense looks to be humming. When we come back, we'll have second half action here from Memorial Field.
This past week of college football was one of the wildest in recent memory. 4 teams with a legitimate shot at making the college football playoff fell in Week 10, and it completely altered the scope of what the top 4 could be moving forward. Welcome into Penn State Sportsnet. I'm JC Colavita, joins alongside Declan Stablo, and tonight we discuss the crazy, backwards, ever-changing world that college football proves to be year after year. Declan, the 2 biggest games of this week were in the SEC. How did they affect the overall scope of what the conference is going to look like moving towards that championship game? I agree with you. Georgia is now the undisputed #1 team in the land, and Hendon Hooker, I really think he lost the Heisman in that game. But the other SEC competition was Alabama versus LSU. Alabama has been one of the best team over the last 10 to 15 years in all of college football, but they fell to LSU. Brian Kelly out-coached Nick Saban, which never happens. And I would say this game really didn't have a scapegoat. Bryce Young, he's injured. He didn't have his best game, only completed a little bit above 50% of his passes, did commit the only turnover in the game with the interception. But Brian Kelly he was gutsy. That 2-point conversion at the end of the game, gutsy. And I guess the only thing Alabama could really go off of right now as the silver lining is Jahmyr Gibbs. The kid had over 150 total yards. He's going to be a stud. He should be the first running back off the board in the NFL draft. But the thing with Alabama is for the first time in a while, they do not control their own destiny. And quite frankly, LSU could be the first 2-loss team to ever make the college football playoff.
One of the lane. He swings, drives one, high and deep to center. McCall racing back. He looks up. It's gone! 3-run home run, Alex Lane! The Cats lead 4-0 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Alex Lane remains the only Steeple Cat to hit a home run at Joe Wolf Field this year. 101 off the bat, 400 feet to dead center field. Perks down to Dye in the corner. Dye back out to Shrewsbury for 3, and around and out. Rebound Dye, State College retains possession. Lake back, now back to Dye for 3 again. He got it! State High takes the lead, 32-29. 4 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. What a shot. Finn Fermanack and company back in the game. Salazar not in the game. Gall and Nastasi to the far side. Nastasi in the slot now goes in motion. And Fermanack back to pass. Goes over the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Carlisle. And going down the sideline, it's Easy Thomas out of bounds at the 43-yard line. In State College territory, that's another interception, the 2nd of the season for Finn Fermanack. And just like that, Carlisle is in business.